Hey, I want to share a tip I've picked up along the way with regards to fabrication in general and working with tube specifically, where you're bending tube and it's easy to make mistakes. I've learned always start with your big pieces first. Like for instance, this hoop. It had been a while since I bent something, and my first go around, I started bending the wrong way and just immediately ruined the piece on my first bend. But since it was a long piece, I was able to save it, and I was able to make this piece, because this is my bend, or one of these was my bend that I screwed up, and I still had enough coming off the other leg to finish out this side with my second bend. So I was able to save the piece, and I only ended up with maybe 6 or 8 inches of scrap. I think maybe that might be the scrap right there off of it, instead of essentially throwing away a whole hoop. And like for instance, right now, I've got a hoop that is going to come around the back and go into right there, that has some bars that come down and then down to the hoop. Well, right now I'm working on these bars that come down, but they're longer. So if I end up screwing one of these up, I can move this back here and probably save the bar again, and not have the waste. Some of this stuff is really expensive. This particular project isn't, but some of this roll cage tubing and stuff is $7, $10, $12 a foot, and it's sickening whenever you screw stuff up. But like another mistake, I tend to make a lot of mistakes because I don't do this every day, but this was my first shot at this hoop right here. I bent, and I missed my total. I overbent it. I'm about 3/8 of an inch too narrow down there at the bottom of the leg, and it would have been fine, but I decided to scrap it. But what I'm going to do with it is, there's some uprights that come right here, so that's going to be one upright. This is going to be the other upright, and this piece that goes across the top where my hand is going to be the piece that connects these two. I would call like kind of an A-pillar bar. There's a bar that ties them together, so I'm going to be able to use all of that except the actual specific bends, which were just about, I don't know, 7 inches of material a piece. So there you've gone from a 5-foot piece of waste to 12 inches of waste, which is, to me, very acceptable. But I learned real quick, don't ever cut a short piece off a long bar. Like, don't put a 20-foot piece of bar stock up here and cut a 6-inch or a 12-inch or an 18-inch piece to make some little short stub somewhere, because if you're anything like me, you're going to have plenty of screw-ups, and you're going to have plenty of material to make those down the road. So if you can work around it and you don't need it immediately to get on to the next step, try to hold out as long as you can. And like I said, like, because there's that stub right there I could use. Well, I can use that to tie these back bars together. You know, I'm going to have another back and down, and then they've got a bar that ties them together. So again, I've got the piece already there made out of scrap, and I don't have to cut that off a full piece of bar stock. If you're resourceful whenever you're doing this stuff, when you get done, you'd be surprised how little waste you have. And same thing comes with it ain't just this, you know. It's been in brake lines. You know, start with your long ones. If you screw it up, then you can make your short ones out of the waste. It applies to everything, and I just thought I'd pass it along to somebody that's just starting out. So